Welcome to the Real Future Podcast. I'm John Nybor, and I started this podcast to explore the community and culture behind the world's largest arts movement. In this quick hit episode, I explain why I do what I do. During my episode 12 conversation, BeastBoi asked me how I got connected to the dance community. This gave me an opportunity to answer that question and to thoroughly explain the motivation behind my work. So let's get into the real future with photographer John Nybor.
Yeah, I'm just curious about how you got connected with the dance community.
Oh, you don't know?
General, I don't know, because I never knew how you actually got connected to the dance community from where you came from.
So on election night 2016, I had gone to the Lakers game, and I was walking around downtown, and I was kind of feeling like there was something really wrong with this country, because the kind of direction I see the future going in or want it to go, and then I thought a lot of society was kind of heading in and just seemed to be like flipped on its head.
Yeah.
So I'm walking up Olive Street and I hear music, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to follow that. And I got to 9th and Olive, and there was Slim Boogie teaching a dance class.
Oh.
I didn't know what was going on. I walked in, and I was like, what the heck is this? And I think it was D-Payne. He's like, it's a dance class. I was like, in a parking lot. Okay, cool. I'm staying. And, it was just probably about 20 people, Slim had taught routine, and they're all doing the routine. And it was just cool. And it looked like people from everywhere, versus like close the borders. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so I was like, wow, this is really great. And I introduced myself to Slim. He's like, my name's Slim. I'm like, I'm John. I'm a photographer. I would love to photograph this. And he said, okay. So I just started going every week to his classes. And they quickly moved to creating. So I think there was 1 or 2 weeks in the parking lot. And then the parking lot became more of a session spot for a while. But I just was going every week. And I just started following my nose. I just went in kind of like, I don't know anything about this. And I'm like, I tried to be respectful. And every time I posted a photo, I would always make sure to put the person's name, right? And have some kind of like feeling behind it. And acknowledge, right? And like tell people like, I love what you're doing. Like I remember meeting Dredd, and and he was probably the first crumper I ever saw. And I just was like, so how long you been doing this? And he just started telling me about some of the basics, right? And I was just super interested. I'm a musician, right? So the rhythm part of it made a lot of sense to me. So that part was intuitive for me. And I think that gave me a framework to like kind of get my head around it. And then I just started asking a lot of questions and being humble and introducing myself. And I didn't know I was in this place where the world's best street dancers were coming through every week. Like I figured it out, but like I didn't even know who Slim was for probably like 3 months. I mean, I knew who he was, but I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is the guy.
This is
right?
the guy.
This is the guy. And so I think that was also part of it. Like that, I feel like I've met so many high quality people through this community, and by that I mean people who care about people.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I mean by that. And it's just been a tremendous gift, and I eventually just became part of the community.
Yeah.
By virtue of showing up,
right,
and by talking to people, by who are you, why do you do this, what, and that's how this podcast evolved, right? Because I'm so like, well, I've built all these relationships. What else can I do with this? And so that's why I'm doing this,
right? But
it's basically, and that's why I call it the real future, because I feel like this. I mean, this is a real community. This is real life right now, but it's also a culture where people get into rooms together and work together despite their backgrounds.
Yeah.
And it's not all, there's there's problems, right? But they're trying.
Right.
Like, and then I see something like VersaStyle, right? Where it's taking this kind of urban culture. And by urban, I mean a metropolis. I mean a city like Los Angeles or like Paris but a big ass city with people from everywhere, and it's like bringing them together and building a sustainable culture in a world that like makes people feel good, and that like welcomes people, right? And again, don't misunderstand me. I know there's rivalries and there's of course some bigotry woven into this whole thing. It's part of reality, but by and large, people need to see this. People need to see that there are a lot of people willing to take a risk and dance, because it is such a vulnerable art. I think dance and singing are the most naked art forms, right? You're out there with nothing.
just your body.
Just your body, and you're the instrument. And, you know, this is a place where people are willing to come and be vulnerable and show themselves, despite everything, and despite, you know, and we've got a world that's constantly on the phone, and there's a lot of concern about that. And it's like, well, that's all true. But again, here's a culture where people are coming in person and showing up and touching one another and connecting with one another. And that's the driving force behind. That's how I became part of this. That's why I do this.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
People need to see this. And I'm someone who didn't, you know, I'm a musician. I grew up knowing some hip hop music, but I didn't grow up in hip hop culture.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that hip hop culture was truly a culture.
Yeah.
Until I started getting involved in this. Right? I didn't disregard it or have any preconceived notions. I just didn't really understand that, oh yeah, this is actually a culture. And I think the dance aspect of it is the most important socially because it involves the most people. Right? You know, DJs, musicians, writers, that's more of a solitary practice, right? Because that's how those art forms work, or a small group practice at best. But this is like getting people together, right? And like
big groups of people together,
deal with each other, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing, and I just think it's such an important message right now. And so many people are scared of one another, or scared of themselves, or scared to go out of the house, or whatever they're scared of, right? This is like the antidote.
Yeah.
You know, and then the art form, like I was talking about initially, where like, oh, this is as respectable an art form as any, and as deep, and as, you know.
Right.
So that's my
that's awesome.
Long and short answer.
Yeah, no. That's beautiful. Just because, like, I always told myself, like, if it wasn't for the dance community, I wouldn't be dancing still. You know what I mean? Because I love dancing. I thought it was fun. But I could just be the one cousin at the wedding that just does this for a little bit, busts a move, and then calls it a day and lives his normal life.
Right.
I could have just been that guy, but like the dance community kept me drawn constantly. More friends, more inspiration, more stories, more backgrounds that I've never heard of. Like, how do I have a friend from Japan? How do I have friends in New Zealand now? Like, there's people who, like, outside of the scene who don't get to experience that and have that privilege. So, like, yeah, like being able to do exactly what you did, show up and participate in the way you can participate, feed into the culture, like, then you'll see how it gives back. You know, this culture's all about reciprocation. So, you know, you find that if you just, people who just take from the culture eventually get fizzled out. You know what I mean? But also, if you come into these spaces to also give, you know, of yourself and to share and to provide how you can to it, then you'll see that naturally that gets sent back to you.
Yeah, and I you know, it's funny. For me, I definitely came with that mindset because I was like, okay, you know, this is a culture that you know, like someone like a photographer, media people are just constantly taken from.
Yeah.
So that's why when I showed up, I was like, I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to like tell people who I am, and they can take it or leave it, but I'm not going to just like hide, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be present, and I'm going to try to learn as much as I can. And it wasn't really until after the pandemic when, you know, we all like had a break, and then I started coming back to stuff, and people actually started to tell me that they appreciated what I was doing, because you never know, right? As a whatever you do, whatever creative, or you might be really proud of it, you might feel good about it in the moment, but you don't really know.
Yeah, you don't know the impact
until somebody
later
tells you, and that was good to hear. It was like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought it was cool. Nobody kicked me out, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Like the feedback's been generally good, but it was nice for people like, oh, you know, we really appreciate what you have been doing, and that you become part of this community, and that was nice to hear.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
But with the same mindset, I always tell, especially like young dancers, I'll always tell them if I see somebody, because like some dancers are really, like Tactic, when he first started joining, and I saw that, I remember telling, I was like, you're going to be winning a bunch of battles down the road. And sure enough, man, right? But I think that's really important to like tell people that you appreciate what they're doing, especially young people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it just means so much.
Yeah.
And, you know, somebody
keep encouraging, keep showing love. Yeah. That's something you keep pouring in. And yeah, no, I just thank you as well for the work that you're doing, pouring in, like, because there's also not a lot of people who come in and become members of the community, but do it in a way that's a little bit different than how a lot of us do it, as being the movers and the guys who show up to the session and do the dance. You know, that like a lot of times there are people who, like, you may come from an outside community, outside perspective, like they don't come and stay the way you did. So like you said, like I do really appreciate how what you've done, you know, and how you have really helped highlight our community, and also like, you know, given us new platforms and new ways of doing things, and really like showed people outside of our community how beautiful it is.
I mean, I feel like I'm just getting started, even though this is like 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
But I do kind of feel like I'm just getting started with this, and that like I feel more than ever that people really need to see it. And so if I can even just like small ways, like just keep showing people who don't really understand this, and try to present, like I've always tried to present it as an art form. Right. Like, yes, the social part, like that's why my pictures always show people in the background, because I want that like group. But I do like the art form. It's just like, you know.
Right. It's a form of expression first.
Yeah, it's both. It's so much both, right? It's like the people who get out there and just do it for fun are just as important as the artists. But the artists are like, it's you know, it's awe-inspiring, and I can't believe I'm seeing these people from 50 feet away, you know. Yeah. Right. It's just a amazing thing.